if I died, let's say I died a billionaire, and I spent 80 hours a week becoming a billionaire, and then I died. I make $1 billion. That was my goal. Boom, my SMART goal, make $1 billion. And I make $1 billion. And then I die. Will I be happy? No. and I don't think most people would be. But then I thought, well, man, what if I was a billionaire in relationships? My mom used to tell me this. And this isn't exactly what she would say, but she would, essentially, it was the gist. Here's the gist. Real wealth is real relationships. Real wealth is real relationships. Another way I've heard it said is the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. What is the quality of your relationships?
Welcome to the EQ Gangster podcast, where you will learn practical tools to grow your mental and emotional health and intelligence to be the best version of yourself, both at work and at home. It is real, raw, and transformational. The journey of emotional growth isn't easy, but it's worth it. I believe in you.
This episode is sponsored by Arrowhead Leadership Consulting. What are your organization's biggest pain points right now? Low EQ leaders, weak managers, toxic culture, high turnover, low engagement, leader development, lagging behind company growth, no company career path. Let us know if your organization needs leadership coaching, workshops, training, or keynotes. Visit arrowhead-leadership.com for more details. Arrowhead-leadership.com. What is up, EQ gangsters? What's up? Okay, this episode is going to be about the pursuit of excellence based on my coaching session that I had this morning with one of my coaches. I've got a few, which I'm so grateful for. So listen, y'all, I practice what I preach, and I'm a huge fan of wisdom. The first 4 chapters of Proverbs are all about wisdom. So I'm going to share an actual coaching session with you that I received this morning from one of my coaches named Izzy, and she is a 05 in the Navy, and she's been a trauma therapist for 30 years. She's just a super incredible lady. And I'm going to share some of the questions and insights that she shared and that I got this morning from my session with her. I'm grateful for books. I'm grateful for learning. I'm grateful for jiu-jitsu. I'm grateful for struggle and adversity and loneliness and sadness and depression and hope and joy and relationships and prayer and answers to prayer and for the Lord and how He's currently shepherding and parenting me. This episode, so it started off the session with my coach Izzy, and she said, "Hey, so what's on your head and heart?" Which is a question I like to ask my clients as well. What's on your head and heart today? And I shared with her 3 or 4 buckets that I'm currently mentally, emotionally, and spiritually carrying. The one that we landed on today, and we kind of did some more discovery in, was in the area of excellence. I've been on these walks, so I go on these walks every day, and I have the opportunity to walk in one of the nicest, wealthiest, oldest historic districts in Dallas every day. And that's not where I live, but I walk to that area, that neighborhood, and then I'm able to walk in this incredibly, just go by. You guys have seen it for the YouTube people. You've seen some of these amazing homes, and for me, the homes are beautiful, and I'm very grateful to just observe excellence every day in these homes, this architecture, more stunning and impactful for me are the trees. God's architecture of these trees and flowers and plants that I get to walk by every day. The smells and the sights and the sounds of this chorus of cicadas. Yesterday I was walking in just this Beethoven's Fifth Symphony in cicadas, just ebbing and flowing, this beautiful music that they do with these amazing aromas from these beautiful purple and reds and yellow and white and orange flowers. Just these amazing aromas. And then the playful frivolity of the squirrels and the birds just bebopping around. Just so neat to see this excellence. Everywhere's excellence. And you guys know I've talked about recently, like I feel like 99% of the excellence that God does in the world around us, we don't even notice. I see a tree and I'm grateful for the tree. I don't know how God made the tree. I don't know how he feeds the leaves, right? The photosynthesis. Like, I know the word. I can't explain it to you. I don't know the atomical stuff that goes on behind the scenes of, I just see this big, beautiful, amazing tree. I don't understand the physics and the biology of how God created the systems for that to happen. And the flowers and the intricacies of the details that I just see the surface of this beautiful flower and I get to smell this beautiful flower. I didn't see the years of this tree being built and formed over time, and storms and rain and adversity and wind and the months or years of these beautiful flowers and bushes. And so I've been, as a result, I'm like, man, God, like you sneeze excellence. You don't do anything halfway. God doesn't do anything halfway. Everything he does is with excellence. How blood clots, y'all, is literally it's an engineering masterpiece. How blood clots. Literally, there's 50 steps, 50 steps. For blood to clot, there are 50 steps that have to happen in order, in exact the right timing and processing. And literally, I saw a little video on this. There are little, no joke, I'm not exaggerating, there are little atomical engines that get built in order for our blood to clot. And I know that the cultural standard of, it all happened from the Big Bang, right? And evolution, right? Because let me ask you, have you guys heard of the law of entropy? Everything goes towards a state of chaos. So tell me, how would an explosion lead to perfect systems? Millions of perfect systems, when no other time in our observable universe has that ever happened, right? If you drop a cell phone off of the Empire State Building, how much time is it going to take for the universe to pass in order for that cell phone to come back together and operate? Never. Never. But yet we think it right. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation, right? Or blow up a yacht, and then how many millions and billions of years have to pass in order for that yacht to magically come back together in fully operational working order? Never. It's never going to happen, right? But yet we think that happened with the universe. Anyway, that's, again, another thing. Perfection and excellence is all around us in God's systems, the planets, the stars, the universe, space, trees, flowers, blood clotting, eyeballs, smell, sight, sound, right? All these just millions of little systems that we're not, 99% of people are not even aware of. And maybe only the SME, the subject matter expert in that field, is aware of that level of excellence. But most of us are completely oblivious to the amount of excellence that we're surrounded by. And so it's like, man, God, if that's part of your nature, if excellence is part of your nature, I want to pursue excellence. As your son, as your kid, like, God, I want to pursue excellence in something. God, help me to be excellent at something. Before I die, before you call me upstairs, man, I would love to be excellent at something in my life. And so I'm telling my coach this, right? I'm telling Izzy this. And so she said, well, this is how she started off. So I told her some areas that I want to pursue excellence in. I want to pursue excellence, and not in this order, but these were some of the things I wanted to pursue. Solitude, business, finances, faith, and relationships. Those were just off the top of my head, the 5 areas. So then she's chewing on that a little bit, and I said, okay, well, if I had to do it in a particular order, I would say faith, business, relationships, finances, and solitude. And I know that sounds a little bit out of order, right? Probably I should be faith, relationships, business, finances, and solitude. But that's how I initially threw it out there. And then she's like, okay. She threw out a couple more great questions. Okay, well, let's set some SMART goals around some of those, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So, and then she's like, okay, well, how do you know you've arrived at excellence in faith? How do you know you've arrived at excellence in relationships? How do you know you've arrived at excellence in finances, in business, in solitude? Great questions. And then how do you create SMART goals around each of those areas? Fire. And so I'm kind of unpacking some of the stuff, what I thought some of those answers would be. And so then I told her about some goal setting, because when I was in my business cult for 24 years, I felt, because of my people-pleasing addiction and my emotional neediness, 99% of people in that business cult were all about stuff, right? Bigger cars, nicer cars, fancier cars, bigger houses, fancier houses, more houses, bigger watches, fancier watches, more expensive watches, bigger pens, fancier pens, more expensive pens, right? It's always bigger, faster, more, whatever, more expensive. Fine, that's great. And maybe that's some of your goals. Great, that's great. Because of my people-pleasing addiction, I never knew what Noble's goals were. And because I was surrounded in this environment where it was being promoted, oh, look at my fancier this and my fancier that and my fancier this, I got caught up in the secondhand smoke of that's what we're supposed to, that's the good goals. So now it's like, no. And so Izzy helped me, like, no, what do you think God wants? What do you think Noble? What does God want for you in these areas? What do you want for you in these areas? And then what's interesting is, as I started to lay some of the stuff out, I've been praying. And it's so cool
that God has provided somebody that I can connect with in each of these different areas that are 10, 20, 30 years ahead of me in these different areas. In faith. In fact, it's so ironic. Literally after my coaching session about excellence, I had a connection call with a gentleman that I recently met at the One Tree Ministries Resole Conference named Dr. Jim O'Neill, who is a professor of Bible evangelism and spiritual warfare at Liberty University. And this is my second chat with him, and no exaggeration, this dude has a PhD in relationships. On top of, and he's probably, I don't know, 60, 65 maybe. On top of the other legitimate PhDs he has in all these other Bible and theology and all this other stuff, the dude is a master of relationships. Master. And I'm trying to explain it to you. Like, how do you know you've met somebody that's a PhD in relationships? How do you know you've met somebody that has a PhD in relationships, a master in relationships? I'm still putting it together. I'd love to give you an answer right now. I don't know off the top of my head. Like he makes me feel like I have value, and I don't know. Like he makes me feel like an equal, even though I know we're not. He's studied and taught the Bible longer than maybe I've even been alive, like my father-in-law, David Knapp, that's another guy that God has given me access to that is just a wealth of knowledge, a gold mine. So he's another answer to prayer, David Knapp. But this other guy, Jim O'Neill, Dr. Jim O'Neill, and I've been praying about it. Relationships. I want to get better relationships. Well, okay, so that's a whole nother conversation about the whole, how do you know someone's a master or PhD in relationships? But Izzy helped me. She's like, dude, I hear the way I hear you frame excellence is through relationships. She said, what if you pursued excellence in these different areas that you're wanting to pursue excellence in on the foundation of relationships? Like, because one of the things that God brought to me while she was asking me some of these questions was another question. Okay, so I've got these 5 areas that I want to pursue excellence in. Well, what if God said you only get to pick one and then you'll die? And you only get to pick one, and then you're going to die. Which one do you want to pick? Well, if I had to pick, it would be relationships, starting with my relationship with the Lord, and then my relationship with everyone else. Or maybe even if there's a way to do that concurrently, which I think there is, that would be the area. Because if I died, let's say I died a billionaire, and I spent 80 hours a week becoming a billionaire, and then I died. I make $1 billion. That was my goal. Boom, my SMART goal, make $1 billion. And I make $1 billion. And then I die. Will I be happy? No. and I don't think most people would be. But then I thought, well, man, what if I was a billionaire in relationships? My mom used to tell me this. This isn't exactly what she would say, but she would, essentially it was the gist. Here's the gist. Real wealth is real relationships. Real wealth is real relationships. Another way I've heard it said is the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships.
What is the quality of your relationships? What does that even look like? What does a PhD what does excellence in relationships look like? And so after my time with Izzy, I went right into this time with a PhD in relationships. And so again, how God works. I didn't even plan that. I didn't know that's what I was going to talk to Izzy about, my coach. I didn't know that's what I didn't even really pay attention to my next appointment. And then I thought, man, God, you're kidding me. You are kidding me. I have been praying about excellence in relationships. Izzy gets me dialed in on my question and my path of kind of what that needs to look like, how I need to pursue excellence. And then boom, you give me an opportunity to spend time with this guy, Jim O'Neill, who has a ministry called Next Gen Ministries. And ironically, he wants to pursue emotional health because he's been, spiritually healthy. He said, dude, I'm much more comfortable in the cognitive space, right? In my brain. Very comfortable about thinking and thoughts and ideas and speaking and communicating. He's like, I am not comfortable at all with emotions, which I thought, are you like, come on, God. Like now, God, you're just showing off. Like you'd give me access to a guy who's a PhD in relationships, but wants to grow in the area of emotions. Come on, like really? And I happened to meet him a couple months ago, in Michigan, in this random conference retreat. God is so good. So I'm so thankful for Izzy. I'm so thankful for Dr. Jim O'Neill. There's a Jim O'Brien who's my college classmate, another super dude I want to interview at my podcast sometime. And hopefully I'm going to be able to interview Jim O'Neill on my podcast also, so you guys can feel what I'm talking about. But anyway, just want to share some lessons and some of these insights that Izzy helped me think through today in the area of excellence, in the pursuit of excellence, and in the pursuit of excellence in the area of relationships. Emotionally healthy leaders create emotionally healthy cultures and organizations which yield optimal results, outcomes, performance, and engagement, and impact. Thank you for letting me be a part of this journey with you. You matter. You are worth it. I totally believe in you.